This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Only Friends podcast. And you know, I'm here with my only friends. And of course, my number two, even though he's got some shit to do today, you know, he's gonna be in and out. He's in the fucking building. What's poppin'?
You sound sadder and sadder every day that you say my only friends.
That's because he realizes how bad of friends we are.
I feel like every day, like there's one fewer only friend or something of that nature.
Oh, it's kind of true. Just one person just drops out every fucking day.
Yo, I was thinking about this in the gym today. Random aside, I'll start things off with a tangent, but like, Christian's the runner.
That's what I just said. Holy shit! I literally said that 10 minutes ago before you got here.
I'm mid-set listening to yesterday's podcast, and it just dawns on me, like, because I'm thinking to myself, like, how dope would it be, like, for me to be the runner, where I would be on air every day, throwing off the scent, but like, you know, I get like the virtual background, like the VR background where it looks like I'm in studio every day, but really I'm in like Albuquerque, and then it dawns on me, I'm like, I haven't seen Chin since this fucking contest started.
Right, exactly.
To stop your tangent for a minute, we are joined by the one and only Johnnie Vibes today.
Is he the runner?
Johnny,
I don't think so.
Johnny,
No, I'm definitely not the runner.
what do you know about rabbit hunting?
Rabbit hunt?
How do
Oh,
you feel
okay.
about
So
rabbit
yeah,
hunting?
I've been keeping up with it a little bit. It's honestly very exciting, and I didn't catch up with your episode yesterday, so I'm a little bit behind. Saw there's been some new stuff, but yeah, it's just great to be in studio. I know I'm not an only friend. It's really nice being a fringe friend. You know?
You're adjacent.
You're a friend of the other
I was
friends.
talking about this the other day, and I was talking to Emma about it, and she was like kind of suggesting some people that we could potentially have as guests, and I was like, you know, you're not wrong. Like, they would make for good guests, but so far we've mostly done this on our own, and the people that we've welcomed in have been like within our circle, and I kind of like that. Like, I kind of like this idea of the concept of the show isn't that it's an interview show or that like anybody who's relevant just gets a seat at the table. More so, it's like people that we would genuinely qualify as friends, and then specifically like experts on a subject, right? So it's like if, you know, something goes down in the crypto space and we have access to
Uncle Dan.
well, Uncle Dan's great because he fits both metrics, but like more so somebody like what's his name, Colby or whatever.
Yeah.
I have a friend like that, but it's rare.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, if it's just a sheer expert, like fine.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
They should get the platform, but you know, we have so many fucking podcasts.
It keeps the chemistry flowing too. Like when you have a rapport with someone already, and it's so much easier for me to come on here. I have personal relationships with all you guys, so yeah, just shooting the shit is just an easy thing to do.
It's a conversation, not an interview.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
We just out here chilling. Like, we were fucking last night.
Yeah,
That shit was popping last night. I don't know what Joey did last night. He was on the horn, though. He must have texted everybody in his phone. He's like, yo, come on down. Come on down. Seaver, Kruk, like, everybody showed out and showed up last night. It was a lot of fun.
Kruk was a one-man wrecking crew, man. He fucking
Keating was there.
He sent
Keating.
Landon home. He sent Conrad home. He sent me home.
Kruk fucked us all up. He just flopped the joint on me, and I just river trips.
He owns like 10% of Sulphur Y now.
It was the Chris Kruk annual meetup game.
Yeah, that was fucking dope.
Robbie J. Lou was there. Arguably one of the biggest names in poker right now.
Easily the hottest name for sure.
So all the stars were out. I mean, you don't expect to see Alan Keating at a 2-5 no limit or whatever the PLO game was.
Yeah.
I heard he was raising blind every hand, potting it blind. Yeah.
Games were off the hook, Johnny. I don't know what table you were at.
My table was more tame. I got up from the table a couple times and people would, like even the floor walked up to me and they're like, "Hey, people are asking how do they get in these games?" And I was like, "Go ask Joey because I have no idea how people are getting in these games."
It was honestly like a race and musical chairs at the start where there's open tables and then everyone who sat down had a seat.
I just followed Seaver.
Yeah.
I knew where Seaver went was going to be the party.
That was facts. That was
Wherever
absolute
Seaver
facts.
went, I was joining his party.
He was just all in every hand and then borrowing off a Kruk stack because he never lost any fucking pots. This miserable fuck. just out here getting fucking drunk, taking everybody's money.
I thought your tweet kind of like summed it up pretty well for the night. It said, highlights of Joe Ingram's meetup game. 1, switching to PLO so Dylan Weissman had a chance. The God said otherwise.
Yo, why you got this AI bot of
It's on deck.
2, Seaver telling me he was all in blind unless Landon and V-pipped. Landon limps, Scott spite folds Queen Jack.
That's a power move, by the way.
So sick.
Don't discredit that. That might be the highlight of the night for anybody. Like, I know Landon's a little sensitive around this subject, but like, as somebody who's been in the gambling industry for 20 years and has seen many talents come through that take a lot of pride in said talent, there's nothing that feels better than the fuck you, I'm not giving you action fold.
I mean, I gave everybody so much action in the 15 minutes I was there.
Did that hand actually show down? Did Landon's head show down?
I wasn't there.
I think he was all in with ace deuce. Landon got kind of forced to gamble.
Okay.
He was like, if you were going to sit here, you got to be fun.
Yeah.
It sounded like he rocketed it off.
And then he just rocketed it off the first three.
It wasn't an issue of playing too few hands, that's for sure.
Well,
did not turn into that.
I saw Landon's tweets, something about like all days aren't going to be good. Or
No,
something.
I was being miserable. I was
No, Landon, to your credit, you left before you got miserable. Like,
No, I didn't want to ruin everyone's fun. No, bro, I need to fucking grow up. What the hell? What the fuck? It was a great fucking day. I went to the gym twice. I fucking won stuff.
Yeah,
what's wrong with
the
me?
context of the tweet was hilarious
dying right
because
now.
like I gave him really loose action on a running bet that he had just beaten me in hours prior, and then like he loses.
You can't. Okay, you did give me loose action. You can't word it like that.
I was not confident in my side. I said I thought I won like 25% of the time. I was shocked when we went to the gym today to hear both Rob and Scott say they thought you would be somewhere between 7 and 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
I wasn't that confident in my side. I thought I was going to be like teetering with a second or two.
Yeah.
What was the over under?
Rob
7
said
minutes.
8:30.
So if you guys didn't know, they basically had Landon and Berkey had a bet that Landon can run a mile when his back got healed for under 7 minutes. And he smashed it.
With relatively no training, right?
Zero.
Zero training. I was not allowed to run a mile and time it. And when I ran, I was not allowed to have a timer. I just had to run cold.
But you did kind of have a timer.
No, he didn't even have music.
Anyways.
Oh, he didn't have music.
So I was supposed
okay.
to have music. Like I was allowed to have music. I left my phone at the start. And with Bluetooth, it does not connect all the way around the track.
That's
So
rough.
after the first 5 seconds, my music turned off and I was like, well, fuck. Now I just don't have any music, but I can't say, oh, stop the count, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and put my music
Honestly,
and hold my phone.
You ran it so fast that you could have.
I could have gone back to get the phone and then do it, but I was kind of at a point where I didn't know. I thought there was a small chance you might say I finished like, oh, unlucky buddy, 7:05, kind of as a joke. But I didn't know how fast I was going and if it was even close to 7 minutes. But I wanted to push myself in the sense of I wanted to try as hard as I could and not really sandbag and say, oh man, I got 6:50, it was really close. Let me try to get 6:30 and like try to get more action. Where it was just about trying to beat myself.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to how good a shape you're in.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, I know Berkey's had an influence on you, but you guys are more than poker influencers. You guys are actually fitness influencers.
That's all I want to be, man.
At this point.
Johnny, please stop
No, it's true. Landon's
Johnny.
posting eggs on. He's posting his diet regimen. Berkey's posting his chiseled chest. Like,
No, that's fake.
I can't take this.
The whole reason we keep our shirts on is so that when we start our round of steroids, they won't liver king us.
Listen.
Look at that.
So many people did not know that's AI. Like the nipple is protruding through the shirt. Of course, it's a cartoon.
Wait, hold on. If you were on steroids, your nipple would look like that, right?
Depends if I get gyno
Maybe you
or
cut
not.
a little hole in your shirt, just to show a little
For
nip.
those live streams, maybe I'm coming out
Exactly,
flexing.
right?
That's the winstrel cycle.
Yeah,
No,
That's
but
true.
real talk, people have reached out and
A lot of people have. They've asked me for like, call it diet, training routine, this, that, whatever. And it's like, honestly, like one of like the biggest questions I get is how do you do it? And my answer is always the same. Like you just do. It's not one of these things where you have to work up to it. You just start, you choose to start today. And then that's how you navigate throughout. It wasn't
I mean,
easy at the start.
low key, you guys have had an effect on my outlook and, you know, obviously health is wealth. And this is actually something that I heard recently that I found really interesting. Like if I ask you, like, what are your goals for the next year? Or what are some big things you want to accomplish? Or like, what are your biggest dreams even? People are like, that can list off so many things. Like, oh, I want to win a WSOP, or I want to make X amount of dollars or whatever. But if you ask someone who's sick, has cancer, you know, has some serious ailment, autoimmune disease, number one, always out of the gate, I want to be healthy.
Yeah.
Like that's the first thing that they say. So even us, like we have these big dreams. If we came down with something, our first thing would be we want our health. So I think it's a great example that you're setting, and it's even having an effect on me.
Yeah, I saw like just from Instagram Reels, there was a kind of, I guess, gym talk / motivational thing where someone talked about that and the priorities of things that are important. And then someone says, money. He's like, well, money's probably not even on your top 5. Because let's say I give you $1 million and you die tomorrow, right? Let's say I give you $1 million, but someone from your family dies tomorrow.
Well, you're kind of stretching though, because the reason why money is always the answer is because the other things that we prioritize are facilitated by money. So the reason you're able to do this heavy regiment where you are overseen by a professional and you're able to dedicate, 4 to 6 hours a day to this is because you're financially free.
Yeah, I have time.
Yeah. If you were a slave to the 9 to 5, this just wouldn't be an option.
10-hour days.
I mean, look at Tom Brady.
Family to take care of. It's hard.
Tom Brady is a perfect example. Like he is investing his money back into his health. I would really love to know what the money that he spends per year on whatever his regimen is.
I think it was LeBron came out and said that he spends $1 million a year.
LeBron spends $1 million?
I think so. It was either $1 million a year or $1 million a month. It was something stupid.
It seems like it might be more than $1 million a year.
I mean, $1 million a year is a lot. Like I invest pretty heavily in my health, and I spend like $12K a year, which a lot of people think is like egregious. I'm spending
$1,000 a month,
$5K. Yeah, give or take. I'd probably spend like $400 a month on the gym. Maybe like $300 a month on supplements, and then I guess I'm not counting food, right? Because
you have to eat. Everyone spends
but I might spend like 10% markup on my food,
right?
Little things like that. But yeah, probably like $12K a year.
This is your cue. This is your cue, Conrad.
Oh, no,
you heard the word, right? You heard the word markup.
Oh shit! This is why This is why Johnny.
This is why Johnny's on the show.
This is why Johnny's a French friend.
Johnny's the real number one.
Yeah. Well, relax, bro. So, you guys heard it. There's markup shit going down. It seems that Laplante post for 1.5 for the 10K WPT this month, and there was a couple people that they didn't really like that. It seemed that Hooney offered to book him at 1.5, which that bet was accepted. But then going on, Deeb also offered to bet him, and that's where things got a little haywire. It was just like, to start, it was Deeb offered to bet him at 1.5 for this tournament, and then it turned into Deeb betting him at 1.5 for the whole 2023. But somehow it's not a bet yet. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Do you guys know anything like more?
I'm reading it now. I actually just replied to the thread. So they didn't settle. They took it to DMs, I guess. Laplante said, consider this action booked. Shaun Deeb said incorrect. And basically said, he's trying to play a ton of low stakes stuff. 95% of his tournaments are low buy-ins. I just want a reasonable percent of buy-ins to be mid to high stakes, basically where he's saying he's not justified at 1.5. Yeah. And I said, can't you guys just settle on a floor amount of buy-ins, call it like 500K? And it seems like that was discussed, but neither side would budge. And then Laplante just said, so instead, to keep things simple, I agreed on his initial bet of a flat 10% at 1.5 of all my live action. He didn't have any stipulations on it. I don't know if that means that they have agreed to this, or if he's basically just pointing out that Shaun didn't start with any stipulations and now he's kind of working his way back into stipulations.
I'm pretty sure it's the latter.
The latter. I think so too. I think that this should just be very quickly mediated because it seems as though both of them are being a little bit too selfish on each side.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people that came to the comments and were like, "You offered him a bet, Shaun. Now accept it."
Yeah, that's fair, but like Shaun's clearly indicating that Ryan's not beating 1,500 pluses or 2,500 pluses for 1.5.
Yes.
Not the $400 circuit event that's going to run at Bally's. Of course, you're 1.5 in that.
Yeah.
And we do know that Ryan is a volume junkie. So if he's putting 80 to 90% of his volume into buy-ins sub 1,500, then I love his side.
Yeah.
He's smashing it. He might be 2.0, 2.5 in those. What I find to be fascinating about this whole endeavor is when you turn it on its head and say okay, would you buy yourself a 1.5? Theoretically, the answer very well could be yes, but he's selling, and he's selling for a reason. Right? It's because he wants to lessen his variance. So turning it on him and saying book yourself now 10% at 1.5, what weird fucking world are we in where he's selling a quarter of himself or half of himself at 1.5, and then he immediately has to redistribute and buy that action back at the same price.
So now he's not selling action really at all for the rest of the year.
Well, he's at least lessened the amount that he's selling, right? No matter what. So either he's going to have to increase now the total amount that he sells in order to neutralize that, or he's just going to have to be more exposed. And from Deeb's side, obviously, he wants him to be more exposed because that's the spirit of the bet.
Deeb loves these bets, man.
They're good bet. This is the way the gambling community should operate. Andrew Barber talks about this all the time. People run their fucking mouths. Sorry, that's not aggressive. That's not directed at Laplante.
But it's true though.
The community as a whole, they run their mouths.
Yeah.
And then the second somebody says you're wrong, they either dig in and are unwilling to move, but also unwilling to bet on their side, or when propositioned with a bet, they just back down and realize I was out of line here.
I know somebody that dug in and bet.
Go on.
My boy Johnny.
Oh shit.
My man Johnny said, "Nah, man. What do you want to bet?" What was your bet with Deeb?
It was a simple bet. Basically, I knew that I was going to be playing the weekend tournaments, the Monster Stack, the Millionaire Maker, the Colossus, the opening event.
All the Weekend Warrior fun events you have to play.
I was out here to be a Weekend Warrior in these tournaments. Obviously, I was a cash game player at the time, pretty much. And I knew that Deeb wasn't going to be taking those events that serious because, he's always, multi-tabling.
On his iPad.
Yeah, he's trying to win. He's trying to win Player of the Year. Yeah. And I'm just trying to do well in these specific weekend tournaments. And when I really thought about that, I'm like, I'm going to be registering early on in these tournaments. He might max late reg these things. Mm-hmm. So I actually thought that I would be in a good spot to win a bet for mutually played events. And my markup was 1.38 at the time. So that was for the main event, the Monster Stack, the Millionaire Maker, the Colossus. So I felt like it was fair.
And that was the reason why this bet came apart.
Right? he called me a scammer.
Gotcha.
So I didn't take too kindly to that word, obviously. So I said, I'm willing to bet you 5K that my ROI will be better than your ROI in mutually played events, knowing that I wasn't going to be playing the events that he was playing.
Yeah.
And that he was going to be a dog in the events that I was playing based on late regging and not caring about them. So, we agreed. But he said he wouldn't bet with me. He wouldn't bet with me because he thought I was a scammer and I needed to escrow the bet. And I was like, well, we both know Joey Ingram. Let's escrow with Joey Ingram. He's like, sure. So I sent Joey 5K the day we made the bet.
Okay.
And he basically didn't really cash any of the tournaments that I cashed, and I pretty much cashed all of them, including the main event. So it was kind of a clean. I think I cashed the main event that year. I can't remember exactly, but my ROI was like 60% or something.
Sweet.
And I went to collect the bet from Joey, and Joey's like, Deeb never sent me any money. And I was like, oh God, that means I have to go directly to Deeb to get this money. And this is somebody that I've had poor discourse with over on Twitter, someone who I'm not really excited about seeing or talking to. So,
and you didn't know him before this bet, right?
No, I didn't know him at all. Obviously, he's East Coast guy. He's a tournament guy, and I'm a West Coast guy. I'm a cash game guy. So obviously, we're not going to cross paths. And so I was like, I'm not letting you out of this. I want you to honor the agreement. The agreement was that we escrow the bet. And he's like, if you want the money, you come get it from me. And I'm like, no, you're going to honor the agreement. The agreement was we escrow. So it was a real pain. And he even was talking trash to me on Twitter after I won the bet. So it was an unpleasant experience. And it kind of made me realize that I just don't want to interact with him in my daily life. So I'm not going to make any bets with him. And I tweeted out Ryan suggesting that he doesn't make any bets with him just because it's a net negative for your mental health and your state of mind to do business with him, in my personal opinion.
How much did you guys bet?
5,000. So 1-to-1.
Such a small number. It's so silly.
But that was a big number for me at the time.
No. I mean, from his side, like to make you jump through hoops to collect.
Yeah.
Did you agree on, like, did you guys talk about what tournaments you were going to play prior to that?
Yeah, I had a schedule out. I had a schedule, and actually had to skip a couple of the Sunday tournaments because I had made day 2s and day 3s.
Gotcha.
Based again.
Yeah, nice life.
But yeah, it was like my first. It was. I didn't play a ton of volume, and obviously more lately I've been playing more volume because, like I mentioned before, my brother has gotten really big into tournaments. He steered me that way, so it was a good first foray into kind of being a weekend warrior at the WSOP, and got my whistle wet.
Well, welcome to the dark side.
Yeah. You're here forever now. Yeah. I was you once.
I don't know. I still have a lot of pain though. Like when I bust out, and something about tournaments just feels so unfair.
This is so unfair.
But at the same time, like I understand what I'm signing up for. So logically, I understand it, and I move through it really quickly. But
there's like thousands of players, right? And then only one winner.
That's how Landon feels about meetup games. It's so unfair.
It's kind of how I feel about life.
Everybody's disrespecting the fucking game and winning my money.
Oh, I don't care about that. But in the sense of like knowing what you're signing up for. Like I knew what I signed up for. Like when I sat at that table with Kruk and Seaver, I should have known what was going to happen. And what happened exactly happened.
What happened?
What happened was I got called a chiseling nit when I played every hand, and then I played every hand that I went all in with. Like it was just all in pre's, and for what it's worth, I always had at least like a good hand. But then I did get cooler bets. Scott had jacks. That was really a scam. Scott tried to get me to fold by saying he had aces when I just had 9s, so I'm never folding. And he just said, "Is aces good?" And I go, "Yeah." And then he flips over jacks. So I was like, well, those are also still good. So
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that was.
I'm happy to be the child that needs to grow up in that spot where you guys can have a good time. It's fair.
It was a great time, honestly.
Yeah.
We didn't need you to be the child, honestly. You were good. You were fine. You just, I
was fine until I was sad, and then I realized, what the fuck am I doing? Just go lift weights. So that's what I did.
Am I allowed to leave yet?
I was like, can I leave now? Yeah. I didn't know if I was allowed to leave.
I was only there for an hour too. I went there $3K in hand thinking like this is a lot of money. I'll do just fine. And an hour later I'm busto. And that was after me busting Dylan Weissman. So I'm just like, well, I guess I go the way of Lando.
It was very funny because I brought $500 with me. Like I just didn't bring that much money. First hand I get stacked, like lose the ace 8 versus ace deuce versus Chris. And I'm like, I need more money. And then like Scott obviously screams, seat open. So I had to get more money, and then was like, okay, have I lost enough money? Can I leave? They're like, yes, please leave. Seat now. And then, yeah, what a time to be alive.
So where does everybody fall in this bet? Whose side do you like if it gets facilitated?
So it's just, can Laplante beat 1.5?
All right, so I think we need to talk about what.
Here's the last thing I said. I'm now talking shit on the thread because we weren't on topic here and I couldn't talk shit on the mic. But
many such cases.
This is not a difficult bet to facilitate. Like the fact that they are deep into negotiations and DMs and they have this much hate for one another and can't get terms of bet down makes me think that they're both full of shit and neither one of them wants to bet.
The problem is both of them have to budge.
No, that's not. It's really not that at all.
What is it then?
Like nobody has to budge. The gauntlet is I don't think you're winning at 1.5 in events over X amount, and the response is fuck you. Yes, I am. You're a bully. So it's just like the simple compromise here is play a year's worth of your volume and meet buy-in minimum of X, whatever that is, right? Like we can easily look at last year's schedule and understand what all the high value events are that are, call it 2K and above, and estimate what those buy-ins come down to. Let's say it's 300K, right? Okay, you want to have another 200K on top of that, a low buy-in stuff to try to even this out? Great, fine. Who gives a shit, right? But Deeb knows that he ran his fucking mouth too much and that Laplante's printing at those small stakes, right? And he doesn't want to have to deal with that because the point he's trying to make is that he's not printing at high stakes. But Laplante's counter to that is like, well, if I'm printing in this one venue that you think I stink in and I'm losing at this other, then who cares? You'll make money in the long run anyway, right? So all that has to happen is that they settle on a minimum number of buy-ins. This isn't fucking hard. Neither one of them want the bet because Laplante's probably losing at 1.5 in higher buy-ins and he's absolutely smashing these smaller buy-ins.
Yeah,
so Deeb
sure.
doesn't want that side.
I mean, and to be fair, I'm kind of with Deeb on that because I wouldn't want to. There's no chance I want to bet Laplante on a bet like this.
You have to understand, if he's destroying the smaller stake stuff, there's no way he's losing as badly as you think at the higher stake stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and he's also never like I.
But that right there cancels Deeb's side. Like, because he's out here barking like a rabid dog.
Yeah, I get what you're
that
saying.
Laplante's like selling 3 or 4 points beyond what he's capable of beating these fields for. And that's almost certain to be untrue if he's unwilling to take his action at smaller stakes too.
I think the one thing that gets lost is, you know, coming from an online background as Deeb does and a lot of these other guys that sell to reduce variance, they're thinking about ROI is the function of markup. But I think in today's day and age, there's a market and like people are allowed to set their prices high. Like people are allowed to sell their hoodies for $250. And if people are willing to buy those hoodies, then, you know, then that was worth it to that person. If another person might say it's not worth it, Deeb saying that X markup is not worth it is just a function of, you know, a capitalistic environment where he's like saying, hey guys, my review on this is no good. And it's fine. People can take that information and use it to not buy. Or they can say, you know what, I don't agree with him and buy it. But I don't think it has to be this massive thing where like people are called scammers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the problem is that we've elevated Deeb to this level of markup police where suddenly he has the end all be all say. And
Right,
like he's just going to be wrong a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And like when he's wrong, he doesn't apologize. You know, if Ryan is beating these fields for like, call it 1.35, like sure, Deeb is right, but he's not pillaging his audience, you know, like a 0.15% tax, like who are we to judge basically? That's the way the free market works. If they don't want to buy, they just won't fucking
shouldn't
buy.
his time and his effort be built into the markup? I don't know how people think about this stuff, but like he's doing all the work, right? He's doing the studying, he's doing the play, he's putting his hours in. So like he probably wants compensated for that as well. So like if your markup is, you think you're beating, like you said, 1.35 and you sell at 1.5, maybe that's fair.
Well, fair is negotiable, right? Because like there's a million ways you can arrive at a markup number. It doesn't matter. The market dictates.
Right.
People buy or they don't.
Yeah.
Horoscope
like
says.
Like you are still running kind of like a business at the end of the day, and like nobody's gonna sell T-shirts at you know, zero margin, right? Because like why would you do that? You're
The
not
times
making
where
any
this
money.
is justified, in my opinion, are when Phil uses his celebrity to leverage spots that not only is he not beating, but like he's stealing.
Yeah.
Right. When he's selling for like 1.4.
Now we're talking about gouging, which is a whole different
Yeah,
thing,
when you're selling
right?
for 1.4 to 100K, where you have a negative ROI, it's like this should be called out.
Right, and you're leveraging your
platform.
your
celebrity,
celebrity to knowingly take advantage of people. I
It's
think
like
that's
when
it's a
somebody
different situation.
sells products but is taking PEDs.
Yeah, well, I mean, sort of, but like it's actually worse. It's like when people are selling faulty products, right? So that's why we have peer
Bitcoin Latinum.
Yeah, it's why we have peer review stuff, right? So it's why we have Yelp and, you know, Amazon reviews and all this other stuff so that you can forewarn people that they're getting a shoddy product.
Right.
And that is what Deeb is doing. But the problem is he takes it to these extremes, right? Like every time somebody posts a high markup, all of a sudden, like, we have to hear from Deeb.
He's also one person, right? Like if you had the whole community give their input, then you would probably get a better.
For what it's worth, there was a lot in the community like pushing back on this.
Don't get me wrong. I think Ryan's markup is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely,
Well,
I think it's insulting to
gonna say
professional poker players. Like, I don't think I'm winning at 1.5. I don't think that people who I believe to be better at tournament poker than me are winning at 1.5
You mean
in
in
this
this
event.
specific event?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yep.
Even though it is going to be a lot of satellite
all the
when there's
money
a lot
is
of,
up top. It just doesn't matter. The final table will be absolutely riddled with very good players. And there's also a ton of variance to it. It's like 1.5 is an egregious number in my opinion.
Yeah, I will say
it's not the main event.
Some people that do have opinions on these things in poker Twitter that see this are also not going to make a public statement, but will roast you in a group chat. Be like, oh, like this markup's fucking ridiculous. Like, have you seen this? Yeah. And like, you just keep it within your kind of subsect where you don't feel like you need to take the public platform of the Shaun take of this is stealing.
Well, to be fair, I think
we're just gonna keep it in this little group right
Landon
here.
has 37 group chats that has it.
To be fair, I think it's better served in the public sphere.
Yeah.
The messaging is just where I take issue.
When it comes to how
calling
you
him a
word
thief.
it,
Yeah, calling him a thief is fucked up.
Right.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
You know, like he believes he's 1.5. He's allowed to believe he's 1.5, and the market will say yes or no. They'll either not buy or they'll buy. And if they buy, then he's set a new high water mark for what people are capable of selling at. Like now Shannon Short can sell for 1.7, where maybe he only believes he's winning at 1.4.
Okay, here's a question.
I'd buy Shannon Short 1.7.
Let's say somebody has an opinion. Someone like with longstanding outreach in the community. They have an opinion. They say, okay, this is too high. And then Ryan says, you want to bet on it. And then you say yes, but then like call it your financial amount that you would willing to bet isn't as high as the conviction that you have on a stance. Do you still have a stance? So it's like, I'm not sure, but I think this is high.
Sure.
And that's reasonable?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Again, it's the vitriol that's behind the message of why it's too high.
Right. This is a
you can
scammer.
just black and white say like, I don't think you're winning at 1.5. That's not insulting. That's an opinion.
It kind of sucks that like when somebody does post something like that, like everybody just tags Shaun also.
Right.
Like,
And it
like,
also becomes this lynch mob mentality of like, oh, look, another high number. We have to crucify this person because they're a con artist and a thief. It's like, that's not what Ryan's doing here.
Yeah.
Right. And then like Shaun starts digging into things and saying like, your coaching is a scam and your play is a scam. I've seen hand histories from you. It's also anecdotal and it's clearly personal.
Yeah, it's very ad hominem-esque attacks.
What the fuck did you just say?
It's an attack.
Ad hominem.
It's
Latin, bro.
It's a logical fallacy. You wouldn't know anything about it.
Yeah. Anyways, point being is if someone says, okay, I don't think you win at this, and then Ryan says, do you want to bet? And you say yes, and you make some sort of bet, your opinion is allowed to have standing. But if Ryan says, would you like to bet on that? And you say no.
Yeah, I think you're just full of hot air.
Right. Then you're just running your mouth.
I also think there's an element on Ryan's part where if he does go into a bet with this, like this is going to affect you're going to have to deal with Shaun and the energy of Shaun betting with Shaun for an entire year.
Right.
You know, and like that is probably something that you should account for, you know, like not only are you putting a lot of financial stress on yourself by making this bet, but now you have this energy coming at you from all sides, and it could help make you perform worse. It could affect your mental health, and I don't know. It's not a bet that you have to make, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
agree
you don't
with that
have
part
to.
too.
If you also see for your money, just take it.
He honestly really doesn't have to, because honestly he's selling for a reason. Like now he has to do more work to sell more pieces to like.
Ryan's response simply could have been, "We'll see if it sells." Like,
Oh, yeah,
maybe
I see
you're
what you're
right.
saying.
Maybe you're right. You might be right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too high. We'll see if it sells.
Right. And if it is, and he still has to sell, he's gonna have to
Right, like,
lower.
Right, but he also like I kind of feel like he feels like he was backed into a corner like when that
No,
happens.
yeah, totally agree. I
Like,
totally
he
agree.
has to
He's been
say-
attacked by Deeb in the past as well, so he wants to stand up for himself, and that part I absolutely wholeheartedly stand by. He should do that.
Absolutely.
But like we've seen these corrections, you know, nobody bought Helmuth and the High Rollers for the summer. Nobody.
Right.
He couldn't
Absolutely
sell
nobody.
a cent. Right. And it's like maybe that's a byproduct of us kind of educating the market, but it's also a byproduct of like, you know, him outpricing the market.
Right.
Nobody's silly enough to believe that he's winning at unrealistic ROIs in the toughest fields.
Or also,
Can I buy the Berkey NATO at like 1.3 today?
I'm sorry. What
The Berkey NATO.
what exactly is the Berkey
That's
NATO?
you. That's
That is what Live at the Bike has you on the fucking graphic.
There's
for
no way.
today.
I hate
there's no way. Come on.
hate their social marketing team. I love you guys. Shout out to everybody involved, but you guys do me dirty every fucking week.
It's time for the Berkey NATO.
Wait, look at the
It's time for the Berkey
Look at
NATO.
the pictures they pick.
Did they use the AI?
Did you, I was gonna say, did they,
No,
did they give you the
it's
vascular
so much
picture?
better if they use the AI. They pick the worst shots of me from like on stream where like I'm surprised by something. Or
That's exactly what this one is.
I look
Fucking based.
I look like I'm brain dead in every single photo that they choose. They pick these weird, tacky, like kindergarten-y nicknames. Like out of the blue, they'll just call me like Big Bet Perky, and we're betting. We're playing like 10-20 no limit with 3,000 in front of us.
I like
It's
Big
just
Bet
like,
Berkey.
You know what? I would empathize, but I saw the picture I got from the marketing team from Pigtails for OnlyFans Out Loud.
No, that was on purpose. We all got one of those.
Everybody got the same picture. Look at them all.
Yeah,
No,
yours and your mine was
you
definitely
guys
the
got the
worst,
worst.
but that's because we're animated. We were yelling at someone for sure.
There's no doubt about that.
YouTube thumbnails actually work. As cringy as they are, you know, when Doug Polk does his like, oh my God face, like people actually click on that.
Right.
So
That's true.
I think that you should just embrace it as like a part of doing business,
Part of the game.
a part of marketing, a part of the game.
Well,
you know,
I would agree if with Live at the Bike, trust me, take a look at the thumbs. They're not good.
Listen, Johnny, the Berkey-NATO is coming for Live at the Bike. The Berkey-NATO is coming for them.
Look, I love these guys. I play there every fucking week, but they do me dirty. Hardcore.
For what it's worth, I think my favorite Berkey nickname is Big Bet Berkey.
Yeah, I love Big Bet.
Triple B behind that one.
Yeah, but it has to come from like it has to come from like an individual. Like when Joey says it's good. Like he adds a little flavor to it or whatever, right? When Houston Curtis is throwing out the Big Bet Berkey, it's like this is contrived.
It's fine. I think it's just a source.
That's my point. It's like a little
You're
boomerish,
aggressive,
you know.
Play big stakes.
Can we pull up some of these Solve for Why thumbnails? I'm curious. I want to do a little grading of these thumbnails.
Oh,
right
please.
Oh my God.
I am so here for this.
Yes.
I'm so here. I
No,
gave you a
we need
high
it.
quality thumbnail today, Johnny.
Right.
I'm really impressed. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Why the fuck does he talk about lighting and thumbnails when he comes here? These are the only
Because he
things.
wants to keep getting invited back, Conrad.
Listen, the devil is in the details.
That's right. That's right. I'm paying close attention. The one I got for SETI tomorrow is
Yeah, honestly, that shit was popping.
yeah. I'm out here, man.
I
I'm
said
in
it
the
to him.
street.
He was like, "That's dope."
Yeah, I'm gonna start using the AI to start creating people's.
Here we go.
Oh, look at this. Look, just
Yeah.
menu. Look at that titty.
Yeah, these are
You
great.
ain't never seen a titty like that.
Yeah, I like, you know, using people. Okay, so this one with Landon pointing, that's good. Oh, this one with Conrad and his hands up in the air. That is a great.
That's all pigtails. The Poker Out Loud stuff is pigtails. They do a great job.
Yeah, that's really good.
Go up to
stuff.
Berkey's Works if we can find something that sucks.
There's definitely somewhere I mail it in. I won't lie.
You've been doing a really good job.
Yeah,
with
the
these
Liver
shits.
King one is great. Yeah, like
Thank
I
you.
definitely want
Thank
to
you.
click on that one.
While you guys are talking nicely about me, I'm gonna casually exit out of here. I'll see you guys on Friday.
Good luck, Berkey.
Good luck,
Later, good
Berkey.
luck,
Good luck, big bet Berkey.
It's time for the Berkey-NATO. It's time for the Berkey-NATO.
I love how he always cuts it so close to like.
He loves being late.
His flight is probably at 11:05.
He likes that, like,
His flight leaves in 40
one,
minutes.
Yes, if one tiny thing goes wrong, he misses his flight. That's how he likes it.
So
right?
he flies jets.
Jet Sweet X.
Yeah, and you can pull your car straight onto the parking lot, right?
They have
Yeah,
a parking.
you
They
can
have parking
valet right
for
there.
you. Yeah.
Okay, so from pulling into the parking lot to plane is maybe 5 minutes.
Yes.
Less, probably like.
You just have to
literally-
go get your bag checked and go say, "Oh, hey, I'm here for this
You
flight."
don't even check your bag. You just walk up to the front desk and
They
you can
swipe.
walk on.
They swipe
Yeah.
it. They swipe the bag.
I'm still on that Southwest, you know, that $69 each
It's
way.
nice
Yeah,
though.
you know,
No, that's
So
nice.
it's hard to beat, right?
Yeah, especially I fly back and forth between Vegas and San Diego a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and the San Diego airport is so amazing with TSA pre-check. I can get from the curb to boarding my flight within 7 minutes.
Oh yeah, so there's no need
Yeah.
for JSX.
No,
Never.
but Vegas is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Vegas is, you know,
Is it?
it's like 15 minutes. 20
Oh,
minutes.
jeez.
Wait. You mean going from Vegas back, like after you get your bags? And
Curb in Vegas to boarding your flight is sometimes 20 minutes, even with TSA pre-check.
I need
just
to get
from-
TSA
interesting.
pre-check.
Yeah,
I
had
have
some good
clear.
experiences.
I have clear, but you just can't use it everywhere.
Oh, okay. Clear's great from what I've heard.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
Free
pretty-
check's also nice. It's,
it's
like
pretty cool.
$100 for the year, right? And you just get to
Well, I have
skip
global
everything.
global
everywhere.
entry because it also includes pre-check, and global entry is really nice because I go to Mexico a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And coming back from Mexico, you just walk right in. Anytime you go to Europe, you just bypass the hordes of people that are on
the
your
customs
jumbo
stuff,
jet.
yeah.
Because there's going to be 200 people on your flight alone
Mm-hmm.
waiting in line to clear customs in LAX. The last time that I went through LAX to get home, where was I flying from? I was flying from Cabo. And I walk through, and because I have like the card or whatever, the TSA global entry, I don't even have to do anything. I literally walk up, and it takes a picture of my face, and the border patrol guy goes, "Welcome home, Johnny."
Oh, that's nice.
And I'm
so
like,
nice.
they know my name based
Yeah.
on taking a picture of my
That's
face while I'm
scary.
walking by.
That is so scary.
It's kind of nice though. You don't have to deal with the questions. And stuff.
I was thinking about the other day because I forgot who I was with, but I think it was Jeno. Of course, it was Jeno. And like we had said something, and immediately it was maybe 30 seconds later, and it's something that we would never talk about. Like I would never see this. Should never see this shit on my Instagram feeds. And it's just there.
Yeah.
And like this is a joke.
Yeah, they're listening to us right now, man.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yo, the Pirates.
The Buccos.
We're gonna do a little jumping around
Let's
today.
get those Buccos emotes in the chat. Please don't put stinks afterwards.
The Pirates got the #1 pick.
Maybe they won't stink in like 5 years.
No, that's when they
Let's
get rid. That's
go.
when the guy turns into a Yankee.
So this
in
is the
5
first
years.
ever lottery. They do it like the NBA does it now.
I was
And
wondering. So what did they do previously?
previously it was just whoever finished last in the league got first pick.
Okay.
Right, and so on. Now they entered in the lottery. I think the worst they could do this year, since they were 62 and 100 or whatever they finished, was 9th. So the worst they could do was 9th, and obviously the best they could do is first, and they got first.
So how did they do that? Because I saw somebody move from 13th to 5th.
13th to 5th.
So I think it might be a couple
So
more.
I don't
teams.
know the full details of how the lottery works, but I assume I'm pretty sure it's the same as the NBA.
Interesting.
Which I'm also not sure how it works.
I'm pretty fucking pumped to see who you
it's
guys
like
get.
it's like, so if you finish dead last in the league, you get the most entries, right, for first pick or whatever, and then so on. And so if you finish last, you're gonna have the best chance to get the first pick.
Yeah, I think
if you finish second, you're gonna have the second to last. You're gonna have the second best chance to get the first pick.
I'm
and so
curious
on.
if it's all non-playoff teams that get into the lottery,
I would assume, yeah.
because that's how they do it in basketball. I'm pretty sure. But yeah,
Here's the thing about baseball. Baseball is such a classic American game, and anytime anybody brings up changing like rules, like this fantasy draft thing, people, the traditionalists, have a fit.
Right.
go
And
absolute ape shit.
So I'm surprised that this is a new thing that they're this is new, right?
Yeah, this is new.
And
This
then
first year.
getting away, like they had the designated hitter,
So
which
It's 2023.
Well, there was almost a what's it called when they don't play, then they don't start the season? A holdout or whatever it was this year, because the Players Association and the owners were negotiating for like a long time, and it came up literally like the last moment they came to an agreement, because there is a lot of things that they don't want to change, or the owners want to change a lot of things because they know that the game is evolving, the fans are evolving, they want to see different things, more action, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they got rid of the shift, right? So that's going to create more offense. That's what people want to see. There's a pitch clock now, so the games are going to be faster, and
Also,
more high paced.
they're looking into the AI umpire.
Right? Yeah.
So that's in AAA.
Which
I believe now.
is it in AAA?
It's definitely in one of the leagues.
So that's what they usually do. They usually test things out in the minors, see how they work, and then if they're successful there, then they implement it at the major league level. Like the bases are changing. They're actually adding 3 inches to the base this year, which is good. It's going to probably help prevent some injuries and stuff like that.
I guess easier to get on base
I
in
honestly
some
wish
regards, too.
that FIFA would be more open to some of like things to make games more wide open and more exciting. But the moment an American suggests anything about football, European football, soccer, are we allowed to call it soccer? The moment that an American suggests anything about soccer, we're all idiots and we're not allowed to have an opinion. But I get it, and like they're right in some respects, but I think that there could be some things that they could do in soccer to make the game more wide open.
Do you have any ideas?
Well, there could be some tweaking to the offsides rule for sure.
You know what? I won't disagree with that. There could be like a blue line type how they did in hockey.
And then, when instead of going to PKs and overtime, I haven't thought too much about this, but like start removing players, make the game more wide open. Like first overtime, there's two less guys on the
In
pitch.
soccer, that is so hard just because you're so tired after 90 minutes.
Of course, yeah.
PKs are pretty dope though. People love watching PKs.
Yeah.
The problem is like I think the extra time definitely something has to happen. 100%. There is never extra time.
Well, if in World Cup there is.
There's extra time.
Yeah.
There's and then there's like sudden death, right? Team scores, they win, and then there's PKs. That's the transition.
Yeah, not in FIFA though. Not in the World Cup.
And I think it is in the World Cup. I mean, it's obviously an amazing game to watch, and I've enjoyed watching the World Cup, even though Mexico's out, United States is out.
It's so much fun to watch right now.
Yeah, I've been waking up early.
Yo, me too. Like when the games were at 2 a.m., I was just wide awake. I was like, what's going on? Who's playing right now? It's so exciting.
Oh,
like,
I'm an old man. I'm not waking up at 2.
Well, I mean, I go to sleep at like 7, so it doesn't really matter. 9 years, $360 million is what it took.
Send in the judge.
All
Bring
rise.
in the judge. All rise.
No,
It's
I mean
time
that's
for the judge.
He's like by far the best baseball player, right?
He was last year.
Yes, last year he was. I'm not sure, like, if we could say they're
hard to
probably
quantify.
they're probably paying for what he did last year.
Yeah.
Honestly, when it comes down
And
to
he held out last year and didn't sign, and so he put his put his money where his mouth
he
is.
put his balls on the table.
Or-
My
yeah.
man, I think we offered him
and it worked out.
a 7 or 8 year, $212 million contract, which was absolutely the stupidest thing the Yankees could have done.
Right.
Because as somebody said on ESPN today, the Yankees paid a stupid tax. $80 million basically, because we could have got him for like 7 years, 8 years, $280 last year.
It feels like inflation in baseball hasn't really been that drastic. Like I remember decades ago, at least, Alex Rodriguez signed a $250 million contract.
That was a very, very, very long contract. I feel like that was like a 12 or 13-year contract.
Okay.
You're talking about the Rangers, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was a 10-year.
Yeah,
It was $25 million a year. I remember
but
that.
that was so long ago, and that number is
that was
similar.
That was
to-
kind of unheard of. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was unheard of. That's for sure.
But when you
time.
look at the inflation of like NFL contracts, they're just like going through the roof. And then you look at what Cristiano Ronaldo was
Oh
offered
my
Well,
God.
that's
another
crazy.
to go to Saudi Arabia.
That's
That's
on a whole nother
another
level.
ballpark. Apparently, I don't know if he's going to go, though.
You know what's weird is like everybody has a dollar amount in their mind where they're willing to do certain things. But I mean, when you're that rich, like maybe you don't have to.
You don't
do
really
things-
care.
Yeah.
Like, your quality of life is way more important, stuff like that. And maybe you don't want to be in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
You know, like, so actually, I wanted to ask you guys. So, San Fran and the Padres supposedly offered Judge more money. So, let's say $400 million, an extra $40 million. What increase on salary would you need to go somewhere you don't want to be, as opposed to somewhere you like have a home?
At those levels of money, there almost isn't a number.
He's already
Right?
a rich man.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
When you're offered $300 million, like I want to be happy where I'm at, and having $600 million and being not happy where I'm at, the extra $300 million is not going to change my life. I don't
But
think,
bro, we're
right?
talking
So-
about San Diego, though. Come on.
I was so
Don't,
surprised.
don't get me wrong. I love San Diego. I would probably go to San Diego because I like San
He
Diego.
would be
Dude,
the king of the town.
I
Right,
was
yeah.
so thrown off when I found out that San Diego came in with a fucking huge offer. Yo, San Diego's not feeling good right now. They just got turned down by Trey Turner and Aaron Judge, and they are off. They are literally throwing the balance sheet at him.
Yeah.
They offered
really
Trey
are.
Turner, I think, $342 million
And he said,
over 11 years, and he's like, "I'm gonna go play with the Phillies in Philadelphia."
There is something about being the king of New York, though. Like,
Exactly.
when-
That is true.
There's nothing like being in those pinstripes.
and not
that
only
is-
that, just the lifestyle of you're basically like an A-list celebrity,
Right.
When you're,
Yeah.
you know, the top sports ball person. in
Take
New
Derek
York.
Jeter,
Top
for example.
sports
right?
Derek Jeter, honestly,
You know,
like
think Joe Namath. You know, think guys like that.
Yep.
Like they're just like kings of the world.
yeah, and honestly,
yeah.
Derek Jeter is like literally, I don't know. He was definitely my idol growing up,
And
and I can't imagine how many people he impacted by being such a good person.
Even
Like,
I think even like people that are not from New York, or even not even in baseball, they like to see this. Like they see he's loyal to his team, right? He, even though he's signed this amazingly huge contract, like he didn't go somewhere else for a little bit more money, right? Because then it's like people look at you different, and that weighs on people. People
think-
want to be liked, and now he's staying in New York. He's going to be I assume he's going to be a Yankee for life, or for pretty close to it.
Yep.
And he's going to be adored by Yankee fans as long as he
I
performs.
think there's something along the lines when it comes to even his own sort of self-interest, when it comes to legacy and prestige, right? Because the Yankees are one of the most, if not the most prestigious team in baseball.
They are, yeah.
And the legacy that he's going to have with staying with the team, not even from a loyalistic
so many
aspect.
legends, right?
He's just at this point the generational talent of the Yankees, and he can hang his cap on that when he retires.
It's also worth another extra, I don't know, $500 million.
Exactly. Like, there's more to it than just the straight value.
Right.
Of
You
the
want to be
contract.
thrown in the mix of the Babe Ruths and the Mickey Mantles and the Derek Jeters and all, the Joe DiMaggios of
Right. It's a better
just, like, in that
longevity type
group,
of thing
right,
when it comes to his legacy as a whole versus the, call it, journeyman all-star approach where you're just kind of securing the bag. At least from being on the Yankees. It's different if he was on a team that was kind of mid and then got a contract to go to the Giants or the Yankees and stuff, and then you take it and then become that person
Like
there.
the Pirates, like everybody that ever went
Right.
through
So
that
like
farm
if he
system.
got like a bigger contract from the Pirates, it's like
now.
after I played for the Pirates.
Pirates have a rich history. They do.
I actually heard this word mid for the first time about 3 weeks ago or so.
Nice.
He was probably fucking talking about fucking Daniel Jones.
No, somebody tweeted at me and called me mid.
You don't want to be mid, bro. Fuck.
So I was like, is that an acronym? Like,
No, it just means you're average.
I know. I went to Urban Dictionary. And
Yeah. Next time, just go to me. I got you for all the young vernacular. Like taking the contract to San Diego is pretty mid. You know, it's pretty base.
Yeah, and obviously, I'm thinking about this from a whole life perspective. I mean, even going out to eat at a restaurant in New York just has this there's reservations, like they clear the way for you. The dining experience, getting dropped off in your limousine, like that shit doesn't happen in San Diego.
It's the king of New York.
Yeah.
Nah, at least when you live on
Whole different scene.
Yeah, when you live like on that level in New York, there's probably no place to live other than New York. Like New York it's popping when you're on that level.
Yeah.
You know, when you're mid, you don't want to be in fucking New York, right?
So if you don't want to be mid, obviously you want to be elevated from that. Like what are we going to use?
You want to be based.
Based.
Very based.
Okay.
So there's cringe, mid, and based. You don't want to be cringe.
Cringe
You
is the
definitely don't want
worst,
to
I
be.
think.
Cringe is the worst. You definitely don't want to be mid.
Mid is in the
But
middle.
Judge taking the contract for less money, staying in New York is a very based move for his career and his lifestyle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Nice.
Love to see people succeed.
I agree. So Johnny, you got some little swag promotion going on.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing is that like we always try to give back things to our community. You guys do it all the time.
I mean, we're here now.
Yeah, for sure. And people are always doing like likes, retweets, things like that. And I was like, I want to like have people. I want to give back to my community through like giving pieces of my action away. I don't want to sell action, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with the markup police. I don't want to. I actually don't want to like lose people money either.
Yeah,
Right.
You know,
of course.
that just feels bad. And so I decided like I want to give away action to the people that support me the most, and the people that support me the most are the people that buy swag.
Yep, 100%.
Like those are the people that are logging onto my website, clicking buy, wearing into the casinos. Those are 100% the people that are supporting me the most. So I'm gonna give free rolls away to them on every time I play a live stream. I'm just gonna pick someone who bought a hoodie
Okay.
and just put them in a random drawing, pick someone, and they're going to win 1%, 2% of my action. Like tomorrow, I'm playing on a WPT live stream with Andrew Nemi, Brad Owen.
You heard it here first at the Only Friends podcast.
So basically, what you do is you just go and you get some awesome swag, and then you're just automatically entered into this raffle to get a piece of
Yeah.
you.
So basically, everybody
cool.
that's bought merch in the past month, I'll put them in a drawing. It's gonna be like 40 people. So like a 1 in 40 chance of winning 2% of my action tomorrow.
There you go.
Tomorrow morning,
Win-win.
I'll do a drawing. And then, the next time I go on a live stream, same thing.
That's
the people
super
that
dope.
have bought in between that last live stream and this live stream, put them in a drawing. That might be like 5 people in a drawing. You never know.
It's
Yeah.
like fun sweat plus support
Yeah.
plus get the merch out into the streets.
It's the best way that I thought about. Like,
then you want
finding
to
the
run
people
like
that
God,
act-
right? And then you
Of
just
course.
distribute all this money out.
Yeah, and if I lose, like they're out 0 money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but
I
they
don't have
had
to feel
a
bad.
great sweat.
Yeah, they had a sweat.
Yeah, I think that's a fucking great idea, honestly. When I read it, I was like, this is fucking dope. Like, this is really cool. I like how you're just giving back to the community like this. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, so, you had a nice little, you got the Only Friends podcast swag in the Venetian.
Yeah. No, it's Landon was talking about this. It's the podcast Run Good.
Yeah.
So immediately after coming on your podcast last time, I went on to final table a tournament, and obviously final tabling a big tournament, $2,500 buy-in, card player, main event.
That's not enough, though, when you come to the Only Friends podcast. You get a little bit extra.
Yeah, you guys gave me some extra.
You bring your brother.
Yeah, you guys helped. My brother actually final tabled with me, and
That's
it
so
was
cool.
an absolute dream. So
based.
fun to just, it was based, man.
There you go. Spaced as fuck.
Just like being there on breaks with him, we didn't really sit together too much the entire tournament. We actually got seated together on day 2, but our table broke within the first 45 minutes or so. So we didn't have to play with each other a ton, which was really nice. I actually really disliked playing with him. You know, growing up together in the streets as cash game players, we could always just pick different tables. Like if he was playing, if we were in the same town, like I would play, like if we were in San Diego, he would go to Ocean's 11, I would go to 7 Mile. Okay. If we were in Vegas, he would go to Aria, I would go to Bellagio, you know? So it was like we could always avoid each other in cash games. So we've actually never really played together that much.
That's actually cool.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool being at the same table as him for the final table and watching him and just his presence. He has a really good table presence, and it's a reminder to myself, like, damn, I need to really step it up.
Yeah, your brother works on like a lot of that stuff. It seems like he's very, very good on table presence and like just being in the moment.
Yeah, I also didn't want to make any mistakes in front of him.
You don't want to get torched in the group
Yeah,
chat, right?
because you know, I didn't want him to like look at me as like some mid player. You know.
Yeah, once people start talking about your markup, they just like kind of see you as more mid than.
But at the same token, like when he's all in, and it feels like I'm all in.
Yeah, of course.
Right, of course. Yeah.
You know, we disclosed to the table that we had swapped 5%, like
That's good.
auto swap, so people knew that we had relative interest in each other. Obviously,
Right.
we're brothers. Of
Yeah.
course, we want both of our. And like, if I lose all my chips, I actually want to lose all my chips to Andrew.
Yeah, of course.
It's a weird in between, I'm sure, when people like. Have you gotten any reactions when you play hands in the very small stint that you played hands with Andrew?
Yeah.
As to seeing hands in showdown, like how do you not bet here? How do you not do this, that, whatever? Or there may be some potential thoughts of some sort of like soft
There was a
collusion.
hand where I think Andrew raised and somebody flatted, and I had ace queen in the small blind.
Yeah.
And something like that. And I squeezed, and everybody folded, and I wanted to just show my cards.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, because Dan Colpoys was like, collusion.
Yeah, of course he said that.
And I was like, I'll show my cards to the floor, like, you know, but like we're allowed to bluff too.
Right,
Right.
of course.
You know,
yeah.
we're allowed to like, you know, what if I had like ace
Listen, man.
deuce off?
But that is like
You know?
a weird dynamic where it's like in the back of your mind, you're like, what are they thinking when I do this? Or what are they thinking this looks weird? Or,
Yeah.
you know,
when
and you're just
somebody
playing
said, like,
normally.
You know when somebody like Colpoy says it, it's kind of a joke.
He
like,
was joking.
Yeah,
He
I was
was
gonna
a-
say.
yeah,
like,
right, yeah.
And he's also gonna say it every time it happened.
Yeah, he was 100% joking.
Yeah.
Shout out to Frank. He just sent us a super chat.
Yeah.
He says about to start day 2 of the WPT 200K guarantee.
Okay,
25
let's
big
go.
blinds.
Let's go.
Any advice? Tips? Also, Conrad, Matt, keep it down in the poker room. Jeez. Listen, Frank, we're having a party, all right? This is what we do.
Landon, how should he play this 25 big
Landon,
blind
give
stack?
this man some tip.
Yeah, you don't want to play many calls. You want to play more 3-bets out of position and in position or in rejams, where you don't want to have a capped range and try to win pots uncontested. So when someone RFIs, you want to play 3-bet or fold mostly, unless you're button. If someone opens and you're in the blinds, like out of position, you mostly want to be rejamming with pairs instead of like flatting. And playing less post flop because chips are worth more to protect.
And there you
There
go.
you go. If you bust, it's Landon's fault.
Sign up for Solver Y Academy. Jeez.
Yeah.
You get access to this.
You'll get like 3 days of that.
You know what's interesting
4 days of
about Landon talking about some strategy here? There was a post on Twitter not too long ago where you had jammed pocket sixes for like 30 big blinds or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking like, I remember looking it up and like seeing some discourse back and forth on whether it was correct or not. And
You thought
It was
a punt,
threes.
right?
It was actually threes.
It was well, if it was from
Or-
a WSOP tournament, it was when cutoff open. I jammed 3s for 30 bigs in the 5K.
okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I was in this tournament. We were down to 12 players, and I had 32 bigs or something. And button opens for button opens for min, and I have 6s in the big, and I'm just like, well, if Landon says it's okay, and I sailed it in there, and he snap called me.
You want to blame him for anything now?
And he had ace king.
And you won.
And I won a 4 million chip pot.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
And that propelled me to the final table.
See, you know what it is when things and instances like this happen and they work out in favor, it's always, oh shit, this is a good idea. Or you get the fold pre and it's like, oh, I would flat here mostly and now I'm trying to do something new. When you get the good positive feedback, it's just like a very big sigh of relief. When you get the negative feedback,
you're like, why would I do that?
Yeah, it's like,
You're like sitting on the fence.
yeah,
like,
you're just like,
Yeah.
why I would never fucking do this. This dumb fucking kid knows nothing. Right? This fucking idiot, 12 left, he doesn't know how to fucking win a tournament.
Yeah.
But then you win the flip and you're like, wow, I can win the tournament
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, and that was probably the most. It was definitely the most fun I've ever had playing poker. But that flip, for me, was not the highest equity or anything like that. But it was the most fun because Andrew was there to witness it. He was sitting next to me, and like if I win that flip, we basically go to the final table.
Yeah, so you felt something.
Yeah.
What I will say is with 6s, it might it might actually mix flats and you want to jam like deuces, 3s, and 4s because the 6s kind of block his R5 folds, right? If he buttons opening 6-7, 6-5, ace-6, king-6, queen-6, you actually want to have deuces, 3s, and 4s where you unblock his queen-6 that's going to R5 and then fold.
Yeah.
So deuces and 3s are like quote unquote better hands to jam because they unblock the folds so you get called less.
Yeah.
If you want to hear more about this, I know where you can find it. We just released another episode of the Poker Out Loud. Not
Yes.
the friends, not the fun shit.
No.
It's not
this
the
is
fun shit.
This is the real deal. You're gonna learn something.
You might learn something other than why the fuck Landon and Berkey are taking so goddamn long.
Mr. Clean likes to hear himself speak, man.
That's right.
It's actually kind of interesting because my hand could consider fast playing or it could consider flatting. I think I'm usually behind if all the money goes in.
I think his range is going to contain quite a bit of ace-x, so I'm going to start with a small bet.
Michael's doing a good job here of leaving money behind, making it harder for some of my marginal hands.
Very bad river card for me. I was going to just go all in pretty much any river.
I think the only automatic call he's going to have is pocket kings, whereas pocket aces is somewhat likely to trap me on the turn.
I'm getting a very good price, of course, to call here.
So we just released episode 13. It was supposed to come out Monday, but I forgot. I'm sorry. You know what happened was what actually happened was
What should have happened?
What should have happened was it should have been released on Monday. But Pigtails is so good that they had the last couple episodes done beforehand, and then usually I get a text on Monday morning like, "Hey, this is ready. You can put
reminder.
it up." Right? Yeah, a reminder. And I didn't get that because they were already done with
My number 2 didn't send you a text?
Your number 2 didn't. No, he doesn't do anything.
You know what?
He doesn't. He just makes the content. I put it up. But yeah. So episode 13 for all of the subscribers is now available, and if you want to see those episodes, you can go to solveforwhy.io and sign up for a 2-week free trial and check out everything we have to offer.
Someone who has no vested interest, like no financial gain in this,
NFA.
bar none, the best. When you combine entertainment value with educational value, it's so easy to sit through an entire episode and not be bored.
Yeah.
But when you normally watch poker content, educational poker content, to sit through 35 minutes of educational poker content can put you to sleep sometimes.
It can sometimes
for
feel
sure.
like a task.
Yeah. So I love it. That's one of the main things that I watch on your guys' channel. And
Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely a testament to these guys who make the content, and then a Pigtails production for the way they edit it and put it all together.
Pigtail's just a bunch of goats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what we should do one day? We should play some of their clips on YouTube. the short story.
Oh yeah, they got
That's
some
what
good
we
stuff.
should do
Yeah.
one day because they have some fucking great shit. And
Really good stuff.
Some things that like I never would have seen that Corey just randomly was like, yo, do you know that Pigtails has a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
And I just started going down a rabbit hole and I was like, yo, this stuff is so good. They're really good at comedy.
Yeah.
Really good.
I wanted to touch on something that Landon was saying about the deuces, threes, and the fours, and sixes, house sixes.
Yes, I'm back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You know, one of the things that I promote on my channel is Range Converter. It's like a software where it shows you these things, like you should be jamming these hands and you should be flatting these hands and at this frequencies and things like that. But it tells you what to do, but making the leap of like why you want to do these things is so hard to figure out on your own. Yeah. And like Landon perfectly explained why, you know,
it's about taking the extra step.
Yeah, like, but you have to see the patterns yourself. Like nobody's gonna or you have to have a Landon in your life.
Yeah.
You know, or subscribe to like Solve for Why to like get Landon.
Yeah.
You know, the point is that like we can use these software tools and we can learn these ranges, but unless we understand like why certain hands do certain things, it's going to be impossible to memorize.
Yep.
We have to know the why.
One day someone will value me as much as you value me, and I can't wait for that for me.
You know,
We value
Johnny,
you.
honestly, you come in here, you talk about lights, you talk about fucking thumbnails, you give him praise.
I'm trying to get the invite back. I want the run good.
Oh
you know?
my God,
I think
man. I
Listen.
can't take it. These are the people I make fun of every day.
The last time I came on, I immediately had run good, final table
I
with my
understand,
brother.
man. That's true.
And we got the win 10K coming up.
Yeah,
you know,
so
this
there
is
you
the
go.
best time
I guess
to
you're
be
just
in the
gonna
seat.
final table it.
Listen.
Don't forget about the little people around here when you win this thing.
There's no such thing as pure altruism, you know.
That's a good one.
It's not all self. It's sometimes a little self-serving.
So I kind of want to swing this back around to your final table with your brother.
Yeah.
Christy Arnett, which is your brother's wife.
Basically my sister, honestly.
Yep. Wrote out a tweet, article, kind of very long tweet that basically summed up the last couple of years with you and your brother.
Yeah, she's a great storyteller.
That was really good.
Yeah, she did it in, I don't know, 15 tweets or so.
Yeah.
But she basically summarized the path that Andrew and I had to living the life that we're living, ultimately culminating a couple weeks ago with final tabling together in a tournament. And it was definitely not a path that I saw myself going down.
Yes.
You know?
And that's kind of what I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
So like in the middle of this tweet, she basically said that, you know, Andrew said he was moving out to Vegas and you had a job, you were doing other things in life, but instead of you were like, hey, I'm going to come with you. And like you had from what I can read and what I understand, it doesn't seem like you were like you wanted to be a professional poker player.
No.
You were just coming out here to help make sure your brother was good.
Yeah, I mean that's the function that I've served in my entire life, and it's where I feel most at home is taking care of Andrew, because we were so close in age, and I was the oldest in the house, and we had like a little bit tumultuous upbringing where I was kind of there for him in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so when he wanted to leave to go to Vegas, obviously I was worried about him, you know, especially when he's telling me that he's going to go gamble and play poker. In my mind, it was gambling.
Yeah, at this time you were in a working life.
I literally had no idea what poker was. Like I knew based on Rounders, you know, and Andrew telling me to watch that movie and seeing him like, you know, win online and like running around and coming home and having money in his bank account. I'm like, okay, he's doing something where he's like actually making money. But for myself, you know, my parents, you know, we didn't have any like going out on our own in our family. It was like, if you're going to make it in America, if you're going to make it in this world, you're going to have to go to school and get a job and like work in corporate America is like the dream, you know, get that 401k and all that stuff. And so I did 2 years of school, enough to get me a software development job, put all the school on credit cards, and was able to pay off my credit cards within like the first 5 years of working as a software developer. So I was relatively debt free when Andrew was like, I want to go to Vegas. And I had a decent amount of money in my like 401k. And I was like, okay, I'm going to come out there and like watch over you a little bit, help you out. We'll live together. I'll pay half the rent. so that it eases your guys' struggle a little bit. Because Andrew and Christy were living with me in Indiana when we lived there. And it's just one of those things when you're surrounded by people that have such a passion for something. But both of them had a passion for poker that, especially if you're really close with them, it's going to rub off on you.
Yeah. So I could actually, I can relate to this a lot, like a lot. Reading this art, tweet, whatever you want to call it, it's just like I relate to it so much because, so when my mom passed away, my little brother was 10, about to turn 10, I believe, and I was 26. And my little brother was deep into baseball. Like he was on the number 3 team in the country, and he's just really good at baseball, and like he was doing good in school. And I didn't want anything to change. And you know, as my mom was passing, it's like, I guess he's gonna, like, where is he gonna go? And there was a moment where I was like, he's staying with me, and like he's not going anywhere. And I had to, convince his father, aka run up in his house. Right in the fight. You think I'm joking?
No, I don't.
The day before my mom passed away, we knew it was happening basically, and I literally drove to his house in Harlem. I went inside his mom's apartment house, whatever, and I was like, "Listen, I don't care what you say, and I don't think this is going to be a good conversation because I know you want your son, but he's staying with me, and we're going to continue life as is." And like I literally everything.
How old was he?
He was 10.
Oh wow.
So
that's huge, man. That's a big move.
When I'm reading this, like you kind of like you left your life kind of for your brother, and like not left, but you could do things other places and you can move stuff around. And I felt so much reading it.
Yeah, but at the same token, like he was saving my life in a lot of ways.
No, absolutely, and like don't trust me when it comes down to it. When it comes down to it, my little brother saved my life as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy to think about. And honestly, like where we are at today, I don't think that he would be where he is. In fact, I know he wouldn't be where he is without Christy and without myself, because like we had this like structure or this 3-way triangle of like helping each other out. If I went to Europe and lost all my money in Barcelona, he would put me back in the game. If I, spent all my money and couldn't pay my taxes, he loaned me money for taxes. If you guys just use each other as a support system. If he ran it down to nothing, I actually liquidated my 401k and like gave him a bankroll, So there was various points where we all never went broke at the same time.
That's good. Such unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you kind of feel it when you know somebody around you is going broke. You're like, all right,
I gotta step it up. Yeah, I gotta step it up because if I go broke, there's nothing left.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that like him elevating his game has caused me to elevate my game.
Absolutely.
And Christy and all of that stuff. So
there's something I can like very, very closely relate to being a triplet and having 2 brothers my age, younger sister by a couple of years. But I have this more of an appreciation for the bond of brotherhood and family than I did when I was younger, because you can always realize that these people will be constants in your life that you can count upon. And sure, you have like family and very close friends, but when there's that knowing that there is no inconsistency in the advice and the unsolicited love that they have for me as I do for them, you realize how much of a blessing it really is.
Yeah.
So it's it's unbelievable.
I firmly believe that the quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of your relationships. And when you have someone like a brother who you've been through with so many things for your entire life, we're so close in age, that has such a positive impact on my quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been huge.
Yeah. Like it's crazy because all 3 of us have had this conversation, me, Dalton, and Griffin, where we probably would not have been friends if we all went to the same school. But that's what makes it what it is.
Yeah, so separate, so different in life. And like, yeah, I mean, fuck. it's kind of like poker as well. Like, think about it. Like, you would never meet. Like, I would never meet any of you guys.
Right. Yeah.
Not one of you guys if it wasn't for poker.
Yeah.
100%.
You know, maybe me. I might have bumped into Johnny at a club years ago. You guys, I would never met at poker, like outside of poker. And it's like, it's that bond. Like like you're bonded through something else, family, poker, whatever it is. You know. Yeah. It's life.
As much flack as the community gets for like the negativity that we're seeing online today and stuff like that. Some of my like best relationships are through poker, and I think there are a lot of great people in poker. Of course, there has definitely been some people that soured the reputation, but in general, I owe a lot to the game of poker, and I'm so glad that I found it, because if I didn't, I don't know if I would have left my software job and that life while it was stable.
Yeah, you'd be miserable right now.
I don't think it's just like while I'm kind of an introvert, I still thrive on social interaction and working in a cubicle as a software developer.
Not saying everybody that works a corporate job or whatever in a cubicle.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with working a corporate job.
Some people, right? No, yeah, some people are built for that, and some are not.
When you were working your corporate or your software job, what was your mental state like? Because it wasn't like you were miserable every day.
No,
right?
And I actually think that this is
nothing else though.
Yeah, so here's the thing is that I remember there were people that I worked with who they would say that this was the worst job ever, and they would complain, and I would say, so what about this job don't you like, or how is this different than your previous job? And they would say, actually my previous job was the worst job ever too. And I'm like, so I'm picking up a pattern here.
Yeah, so you know this person.
People are who they are, and I'm generally a chill, laid back, go with the flow, everything's fine, everything's good kind of person. So I wasn't miserable. Like, I enjoyed, solving problems every day. I wasn't the best coder. Like when they would give us a problem, like I needed to write the software so that people could return something. Go on the website, click, this is defective, return it. There's a million ways to write this software. There's a million ways to write the graphical interface, and that's fun. Like, being the person that figures that out. My code was probably 3 times as long as
it needed to be,
as some kid from Stanford was. Yeah. As it needed to be, But I enjoyed that part of the job. But the autonomy and the personal freedom that I have within poker now, I didn't always have this freedom in poker. Obviously, there were times where I was a slave to the table. I was a slave to my win rate. I was, down in the dumps. Like, things weren't going well. I've cried in a parking lot between cars before, I wouldn't have done that at my software job.
I think it's one of the main reasons that people get into poker, right? It is to have that financial freedom, but the time, right? The be your own boss kind of thing.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I think we all owe a lot to poker.
Oh, for sure.
Like, when it comes down to it, no matter how we're living, like, we all owe it all to, a lot to poker, and the community, honestly. Because, I don't know. I think poker grew me as a person, and
you'll grow up quick.
Oh, you're gonna come face to face with your inner demons. Quicker in poker than in any other aspect of life.
Any other aspect of life.
You will know how you deal with losing. You'll know how you deal with your relationships, like when things aren't going well, in one day.
Yep.
Right. Also with winning, right? And knowing whether to be humble or not, and those kind of things when times are good. Yeah. Well.
Yep. You just see yourself with the highs, the lows, and the mid.
That's kind of why the base, cringe, and mid. Yeah. It's kind of why I also really like the content space when it comes to poker, because poker in its inherent nature is a negative EV, a zero EV game, zero sum game. Sorry, where there's winners and losers. But from the content side of things, it's be positive, where everybody can win. So being part of the promotion and production of public things, being a podcast, doing Twitch streams, that is something that can provide EV from an entertainment standpoint, which doesn't have to inherently be zero sum.
Correct. Agreed.
And that's why I really like being able to be a part of it.
Yeah, and when who you are through your content it's not like an act. Like, we are just who we are, and I am in generally a laid back person. I don't like to crawl into negative holes, and if something on Twitter is negative, I'll mute or block or things like that.
I usually curse them out, but I'm trying to get better.
Yeah. But what's crazy is that in the content space, negativity and drama gets rewarded.
Yeah.
You know, so like the more you are adversarial, the more you talk shit to other people, the more you are
There are ways to zero
telling
sum it.
other people you're a scammer or things like that, you actually build up a bigger following and you get more attention.
Yeah.
But it's just never something that I have wanted to do or even entertain because you can't separate it. If you are doing that for content, that energy is seeping over into your real life.
Real life, yeah.
You know, and
sure.
it's no way to live.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, one of the compliments that I've recently gotten just by someone that was at the win that ended up seeing me from the podcast, and I just bricked a tournament, and I was like, oh, do you want to just like continue the conversation and get lunch? Is he said to me, who does watch the podcast? So what's up? He said that I'm the same person on and off of the show.
Yeah.
And that means a lot to me from an authentic standpoint where
I can vouch for that.
I can also
if
vouch
someone
for that.
comes up to me, it's like, this isn't an act, right? The fitness stuff that I do, whatever, like posting that I'm drinking raw eggs and shit, that's real,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
and I want
It's
to
disgusting,
be
but real.
what I represent.
Conrad too, you too. Like, let's get it popping. Like, I walk into I walk into the meetup last night and I see Conrad. He's like, let's get it popping. There's no camera on him.
Right, exactly.
This is how we live, man. You know. So before we get out of here, I was reading the chat, and the people want to know what's up with this RV. I don't even know what they're talking about.
Oh, it's the last video I uploaded.
Okay.
So it was just a little experiment.
You see how fucking shit I have in my job? The last video you uploaded?
No, it was 3 weeks ago. And
okay. Okay, good.
I'm supposed to like update people on YouTube with like what's going on, but I get sidetracked and I final table tournament.
Nerd stuff.
Sorry, community. He has to hit the final tables.
No. So I haven't updated my community with the next video, but basically we traveled around for 3 weeks and rented a van.
Oh yeah,
and,
we talked about that.
Yeah, and it was fun, but it was not for me.
Not for you?
No.
So you bought the van?
No, we rented.
Oh, okay.
We rented, and I thought it would be a fun adventure, and it was a fun adventure, but it was definitely not good for productivity. It was not good for playing poker.
It seems like a lot of fucking work.
It was not good for my intimate life with Olga.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do recommend. Like, I'll probably do it again for like a weekend or something. But for 3 weeks, not for me.
Yeah, I could see myself, when I saw you doing it, I was like, I could definitely see myself doing this for at least a week, maybe 2. But I don't know if I could do it any longer than
Part of
that.
the problem is there's no shower in the van, and there's no bathroom. So you have to really be tactical about where you park, where the facilities are.
All right, maybe I can't do this.
They do have some vans that have bathrooms in.
Okay.
But now you're like you're going to the bathroom where you're sleeping, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds rough. My girlfriend kicked me out of this van, it sounds like. Well, on that note, Johnny, thank you so much for hanging with us.
Blessing and honor.
We love these high quality times with you.
I need to get my brother in here.
Absolutely.
Actually, let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would love to come on with him, but
we can do
maybe
that.
maybe
We can
one
make that
day
work.
that you guys are light a little bit.
No, honestly, whenever he wants to come on, just tell him to hit us up.
Yeah. So he's wise. He's not a man of many words, but when he speaks, it's like on point, especially when he's telling me about poker. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but one time I was telling him about hand history, and he literally looked at me and said, I want you to take this strategy that you're telling me, and I want you to put it over here, right in the garbage.
Now that's based. That's so based.
You need somebody like that in your life.
Absolutely. Someone's got to keep it real with you.
Yeah.
Right.
On that note, thank you for rocking with us. We appreciate you guys, and we will be back tomorrow with my boy Seti, the poker traveler, will be in the building. So I'm pretty excited for that. Again, thank you, Johnny. And from the Only Friends podcast, we out.
Please don't put us in the garbage.